The wrestling world has been plunged into unprecedented turmoil, a storm of betrayal, corporate warfare, and backstage treachery that has left fans, wrestlers, and insiders alike stunned and scrambling to comprehend the full magnitude of what has just unfolded. For decades, WWE has survived countless scandals, creative missteps, and industry shakeups, but nothing quite matches the seismic shock that ripped through the company when Triple H, himself a man who has weathered more than his share of controversies, made the extraordinary decision to terminate Seth "Freakin' Rollins' WWE contract. What makes this moment unlike anything before is not just the swiftness of the decision but the sheer weight of the evidence and allegations behind it, evidence that WWE has kept under tight guard while mainstream wrestling outlets tiptoe around the truth, fueling suspicion that powerful hands are pulling strings to keep the full story from the public. My sources, embedded deep within WWE headquarters and connected to those directly involved in the investigation, have pieced together a narrative so intricate, so layered with deception and ambition, that it exposes the hidden machinery of backstage politics in ways the company never wanted revealed. According to these insiders, the roots of this scandal stretch back over 2 years, when Rollins, at the height of his main event power, began quietly laying the groundwork for a scheme that would exploit WWE's trust, medical oversight, and creative planning for his personal gain. Working in concert with an outside physician, Rollins allegedly created a library of forged medical documentation, MRI scans, X-rays, specialist notes, detailing injuries that simply did not exist. These were not small exaggerations or borderline diagnoses, they were complete fabrications, meticulously crafted to appear authentic and convincing under WWE's standard review processes. The motive, my sources claim, was multi-pronged: to secure more favorable contract terms from WWE by playing the sympathy card, to gain increased creative control over his storylines by presenting himself as a fragile yet essential asset, and to buy himself time to negotiate with AEW in secret while continuing to draw his WWE salary. The duplicity didn't end there. Through encrypted communications and discreet in-person meetings, Rollins allegedly shared sensitive internal information with AEW executives, creative plans for upcoming pay-per-views, the trajectory of major feuds, contract expiration timelines for key talent, and even strategic shifts in WWE's business model. In return, AEW reportedly dangled a blockbuster deal before him, a guaranteed multi-year contract surpassing his WWE earnings, full creative authority over his character, and the chance to be the centerpiece of an AEW storyline that could shift the balance of power in the industry. The catch, however, was that he remained inside WWE as a covert informant until the timing was right, effectively operating as a mole in the heart of WWE's creative engine. For months, this arrangement went undetected, but the facade began to crack 3 months ago when WWE's medical department noticed inconsistencies between Rollins' injury claims and the findings from certain examinations. An internal audit was launched, pulling in the company's legal team and outside private investigators. What they uncovered was staggering: a paper trail of fabricated medical records, corroborating communications with AEW representatives, unexplained deposits from sources linked to AEW's business network, and digital evidence tying Rollins directly to the manipulation of match schedules and creative planning in ways that benefited AEW's positioning. These revelations set off alarms in the highest echelons of WWE leadership, prompting Triple H to personally take control of the investigation. The confrontation came just days ago inside WWE headquarters, where, according to multiple eyewitness accounts, Triple H entered a closed-door meeting with Rollins holding a thick folder, every damning piece of evidence neatly compiled. Witnesses describe the room as tense, the air heavy with unspoken finality as Triple H laid the documents on the table, the forged medical scans, the leaked creative notes, the financial transaction records, the correspondence with AU's inner circle. When faced with the mountain of proof, Rollins did not, as some might expect, break down or apologize. Instead, he allegedly defended his actions, accusing WWE of fostering an environment where talent is disposable and undervalued, insisting that his deception was a calculated form of self-preservation in an industry that offers no guarantees. That response was the breaking point. Sources say Triple H's anger, normally controlled and strategic, erupted in a way few have ever seen, his voice shaking with rage as he accused Rollins of betraying not only the company but every performer who built their careers on the values of loyalty, hard work, and trust. The termination was swift and absolute, no suspension, no quiet release, no negotiation for a face-saving exit. Rollins was escorted from the building by security, his credentials revoked on the spot, and within hours his merchandise was scrubbed from WWE's online and physical stores. The ripple effects of this firing have been immediate and severe. WrestleMania's creative plans, which prominently featured Rollins, have been dismantled and rebuilt at enormous cost, reportedly exceeding $15 million in lost marketing investments, cancelled promotional tie-ins, and emergency storyline overhauls. Sponsors have expressed unease, demanding assurances that WWE can still deliver on contracted appearances and events without further disruptions. International broadcasters, already skeptical due to previous controversies, are questioning whether WWE's internal controls are strong enough to prevent similar breaches of trust. Backstage, the roster is fractured. Veteran performers, many of whom have weathered decades in the business without compromising their integrity, have privately voiced support for Triple H's hardline stance, warning that failure to punish Rollins' actions would open the door for further manipulation and deceit. In contrast, a faction of younger talent and Rollins' closest allies believe the punishment was excessive, framing it as a warning shot against any wrestler who dares to challenge WWE's control over their careers. This ideological divide has created a cold war in the locker room, with brand transfers being quietly requested to avoid escalating tensions. The scandal has taken an even darker turn with the emergence of secret recordings, reportedly obtained during the investigation, in which Rollins can be heard laughing about how easily he fooled WWE's medical staff and openly strategizing about how to maximize leverage with both WWE and AEW simultaneously. Perhaps most shocking of all, the recordings allegedly reveal that this plan had been in motion for over 2 years, with Rollins cultivating relationships with compromised medical professionals and AEW insiders long before any public hints of discontent surfaced. Triple H, in the wake of this betrayal, is now driving an aggressive overhaul of WWE's internal structure. Independent medical verifications will become mandatory for all injury claims, contract clauses are being rewritten to limit outside negotiations, and an advanced monitoring system will track communication patterns and financial dealings for red flags. The intent is clear: to root out what he now views as a deeply ingrained culture of opportunism that, left unchecked, could destroy the company from within. Legal repercussions loom large. WWE is reportedly preparing a multi-pronged lawsuit against Rollins for breach of contract, fraud, and potentially criminal conduct. Simultaneously, they are exploring action against AEW for tampering, corporate espionage, and unfair competitive practices. If pursued, these cases could set landmark legal precedents, redefining how wrestling promotions operate in a hyper-competitive modern market. AEW, for its part, has maintained a conspicuous silence, refusing to confirm or deny the allegations, a silence that industry insiders interpret as a sign of deep concern over the potential fallout. This is no longer just a WWE crisis, it is an industry-defining moment, a crossroads where the future of professional wrestling's ethics, loyalties, and competitive boundaries will be decided. The Seth Rollins scandal has exposed vulnerabilities that transcend any one company, forcing every promotion, every wrestler, and every fan to ask the same question: is wrestling going to be driven by honor and respect for the craft, or will it devolve into a no-holds-barred war of self-interest and sabotage? Triple H has drawn his line in the sand, choosing principle over convenience, but whether that stance reshapes the business or sparks an era of even more ruthless competition remains to be seen. What is certain is that the wrestling world will not, and cannot, return to the way it was before this betrayal came to light, and the aftershocks of this moment will be felt for years to come.